There. Welcome, everybody. We've got another great week of the Spotlight series. This week is Top 5 Kazon. So we are first edition only this week. This is our first single edition week. We have a few of those coming up for the next few weeks between, Vidians and Kazon and
Erosion.
yes, Hirogen. And well, in second edition, I've got Hell's Heart Week and oh, I forget what else. I think I've got an ES9 week planned. Oh, and Terrak Nor. So we've got single edition weeks coming up for the next coming up in the foreseeable future. So I would like to welcome our very own KazonPADD. Hey, Patty, thanks for coming on.
Cheers, Maggie. No problem.
Happy to have the name your names you here as your namesake. So Patty's going to give us a rundown of his top 5 Kazon cards. So tell us all about what your favorites are.
Okay. Well, one of the main Kazon archetype decks is the Kazon Battle deck, and you can't do that without the Kazon Warship. So it's a rather large ship, range 8, weapons 11, shield 12, very impressive stats, and easily captainable because there's Razik who commands it, and he's easy to get out with his security, so you can download him with Defend Homeworld, and that means you can from the get go get a captain's log out and boost those stats even higher. But the real winner on this card is the fact that you can stack all those other ships onto this ship as a big carrier. So if you start building up your Kazon fleet, you can then send them in one foul swoop across to another quadrant and start beating up an opponent. So this is a really powerful card.
Excellent, excellent. I have heard of the might of the Kazon fleet decks, but I have not yet experienced. I haven't yet experienced that. All right. So what's next for you then?
So next for me is the Kazon Collective, which is the original incident that came out with the Kazon. It's downloadable by their outpost, and one of the main things that's built into that is the free report mechanic. So if you get a Marge out for a particular sect, you can then start reporting members of that sect for free each turn. Now there are flaws with that. It's not immediately obvious how you get the Marges out, but there are ways that fix that later. But the real winner I think with this card is that second function that doesn't really get as much of a focus, which is the ability to play on a Kazon warship, as just mentioned, and then it turns it into a mobile outpost where you can report your other Kazon ships and personnel. So once you do start deciding to go marauding in the Alpha Quadrant, you download this onto your warship, and you turn that boom into a mobile outpost. So that's the real winner there.
How do you download it to your warship?
So the Kazon collective is downloaded by your Kazon outpost.
Ah,
So
okay.
initially, if you're playing like a warp speed game, you might use it just to download the Kazon collective and use that free play mechanic. But when you're playing a battle deck, the easy trick is to seed a Kazon collective for the free play, but use that download sparingly. Get your Kazon warship out, and then download it on a later turn, and turn it into a mobile outpost. That's one of the real winners there.
Excellent. All right. Then where do we go next from there?
From there, these were the cards that originally came out in the Voyager expansion. We start moving to some of the ones that the CC have produced. So if we look at Voyager, this is a Kazon affiliation version of the Intrepid class ship. The big help here is this is a ship that doesn't have the usual restriction that all the Kazon ships do, with the lack of transporters, which isn't really an available option in TUI. You don't really have these sort of restriction boxes, but all the Kazon ships have this restriction about no transporter. So Voyager, being a stolen ship from the Federation, has the elusive transporter, and it means it's much easier to move your personnel around once you've got that ship in play. Now, being Voyager, it's seedable at Caretaker's Array, so you can have that out from the start. So that's a really useful function. And also, it has a special download of Home Away from Home. So originally there was just the one free report mechanic, Kazon Collective, as already mentioned. But the download of Home Away from Home meant that you have two free report mechanics within the Kazon affiliation.
Excellent. Yeah, because you can matching. Oh, I see. Yeah, matching Delta Quadrant personnel may report aboard. So, so you've got anyone who's got the staff star can play for free to that one. Nice.
Exactly, yeah.
Nice. All right. Then we've got leader of the sect.
Yeah, so this is one of the cards that came out in the 20th anniversary set. It was a card specifically related to the Voyager expansion, because each card in that set related to one of the previous Decipher affiliate expansions. So, leader of the sect overcomes a huge problem on the Kazon Collective, whereby there isn't really a fixed method for getting out those marges to get the free plays. So Razika, we've already mentioned, he's the Mage of the Kazon Ogler, and he's got a security skill which allows him to be downloaded by Defend Homeworld. But Colour, who is the Mage of the Nistrum, which is the biggest sect and the largest card pool for free plays, he didn't really have an easy way to be downloaded. Shortly before this came out, there was a change to going to the top, which meant that you could then get him using that. But this is a surefire, guaranteed way. You don't need to try and draw into an interrupt to get him out, because you can download a Marge if you haven't got one in play from the very first turn. Now that means you've got all of your the majority of your Kazon between the Ogler and the Kazon Nistrum as being potential free plays.
Oh, excellent. Excellent. All right, then very last.
So my last pick for this is not really a Kazon card, because she's Cardassian, really, but it's Seska. So she has some pretty great skills, including the very rare transporter skill. Obviously, an affiliation without transporters at all doesn't have a lot of skill in that area. So she's pretty much the only source of that particular skill. The one thing that she's also a very rare source for is women. The Kazon are not particularly overflowing with women as an affiliation. So she's very, very rare on those fronts. Kazon parties are usually a bit of a sausage fest.
Yeah, I think if I remember correctly, at least from this set, there was only one other woman, one other
Yeah,
female in the set. I
yeah.
was
There's
just,
a universal background character called Rill, and never got a speaking part. So
yep, yeah, there she is. Yeah, I was just looking through this when I got a I had a large windfall of cards that my local gaming store just gave me, and so I was just sorting through everything, and I'm like, and I remembered that. I'm like, oh yeah, there she is.
mm-hmm.
I remember her.
Yeah.
The only yeah, so no, that's cool. I haven't played a lot of Kazon. I remember being not very fond of the uh, the Voyager set in general, but it looks like the CC's done some stuff to make it a more usable affiliation. It
Yeah,
sort of suffered from that Decipher era quick forgetting of stuff because I think that once the Borg came out, they didn't get
hmm
any more personnel. I can't remember if they had anybody in Holodeck Adventures or not, but
I can't recall specifically, but yeah, there wasn't a lot of love for Kazon. So
no, but they certainly have some. They do have a unique flavor to them. I also like the fact that they're one of their main attractions is you can't assimilate them. So
yeah, that is quite fun. Although I will tell you, Neil Matthew has found a way to assimilate them anyway.
because of course, because of course he has.
Of course, yeah. Um, so we were talking about Seska, and she's one of the few matching commanders you can use. So she's actually the commander of Voyager alongside Color. But if you use Seska on Voyager, that means you free up Color to be matching commander of one of the Kazon Raiders, which you'll probably have in your deck.
Hmm.
So between Razik on the Kazon warship, Color on a Kazon Raider, and Seska on Voyager, with the captain's logout, you'd have a total weapons from those three ships of 35, which is a fairly impressive total.
Yeah, enough to take out a cube. Very cool.
Yes, yeah, or an outpost. So
Yes, or an
yeah.
outpost.
Mm.
All right. Well,
The other trick you can do is with Seska, if you want to get her out early, given um, you're gonna have color out early with leader of the sect, is you can seed a holoprogram Cafe des Artistes on
mm,
Voyager, and then once you've got color out, you can discard the cafe to get the other half of the couple, Seska. So you can ensure you get all three of those matching commanders out and make a pretty devastating attack fleet.
awesome. Awesome. I don't often play battle, but I am definitely
Yeah,
think, thinking of trying that out sometime. Although maybe not at Continentals.
yeah.
Don't think I'm quite ready for that.
The Kazon battle deck was really strong around 2014, 15, um, and that was where you could put all of your Kazon ships onto the warship. So you need to make one jump to get across quadrant. It's now a bit trickier because you can't put Voyager onto the um, carrier fleet anymore, so it can't go on board the Kazon warship. That makes things a little trickier, so you can't necessarily jump in one smooth motion across the quadrants. So probably at the moment the stronger deck type is possibly a Kazon Solver, because they've got the 2 free reports, they've got a lot of ships going for them, so it's easy for them to get out and roam in the Delta Quadrant. So Kazon Solver is now probably as strong as the old Kazon Battle Architect.
Hmm. Well, I'll have to hunt around because I do need to find a deck to a beginner style deck
Mm-hmm.
for Kazon for this week. So I'll have to hunt around and see what I can find for probably a solver, maybe better way to go for looking at a beginner deck. But
For a beginner, that's probably the way to go. Yeah, but of course, you should have enough weapons in there so that if there are any other Delta Quadrant affiliations, they can easily go on a quick rampage.
all right. Well, anything else you want to wrap up with then, Patty?
I suppose the other Kazon tactic that they're known for is boarding party. It's a nice bit of affiliation flavour that they've got. If you want to go and steal an opponent's ship, you can get a nice 20 points out of it with that particular card, which is always handy. So that's always been a favourite of mine. It's never been as easy to pull off as you might think, because obviously you need to get across there and get rid of all of an opponent's personnel so that you're unopposed. But yeah, it's a nice tactic if you can pull it off.
Awesome, awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on today, then, Patty. I appreciate
No
you
worries.
taking the time to chat with me about your top five Kazon cards.
Cheers. It's just a shame they haven't produced an equipment yet called a KazonPADD.
Ah, I know. Maybe sometime in the future we'll see, right?
Fingers crossed.